Guys, I have to confess something. I think Majin Kuu and Majin Duu are my two new favorite Dragon Ball characters. So today we're going to break down Dragon Ball DAIMA episode 11. I'm going to talk about what those names, Majin Kuu, Majin Duu, probably mean, as well as a bunch of other stuff. There's timestamps down below if you want to go straight to a certain topic, so go check the description. Otherwise, watch till the very end because I'm going to be breaking down this episode in detail. My name is Tony. I have worked as a translator and interpreter from Japanese to English. I have a master's degree in Japanese language and linguistics and have taught Japanese. I love the Japanese language, but I also love anime and Dragon Ball. So what I do on the channel is I break those things down for you in a fun and interesting way. If you like that sort of content, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Show me some support so I can keep growing the channel. So today I've broken down the things that we're going to discuss in 3 parts. So here's my breakdown of Dragon Ball DAIMA episode 11. Number 1. So yep, it was Neva. Neva was that mysterious, cloaked in shadow Namekian that was watching Goku and the gang as they were preparing to leave the original planet Namek. Yeah, he showed his face and he divulged a whole bunch of information about why he's still there and the history of the Namekians and the Dragon Balls in the Demon Realm. But before we get into that, I want to just mention that we got a nod to the original Dragon Ball opening. So Neva starts to sing a song that uses the lyrics of the original Dragon Ball opening song. He says, "Tsukamoze Dragon Ball." Now, I basically just, I tried not to do it in the original melody of the song, but I kind of failed there. It was kind of similar, although I'm not good at singing, so maybe it wasn't so similar as I think it was. But Neva did a different melody. Like, I just re-listened to it right now before I started recording, and it doesn't sound like the melody of the original, like the opening song of Dragon Ball. I just noticed an extra layer to this Easter egg, and when I noticed it, it blew my mind. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to get a little linguistic-y, but it is really, really interesting. So the title of the original opening song of Dragon Ball is Maka Fushigi Adventure. This means something like a great mystical adventure, a great fantastical adventure. The first word in that title is Maka, which can be translated as great or something like that. But the meaning isn't so important, it's how you write it. And Maka is written using the kanji for demon. This is the same character we see in words like Majin and Makai, the demon realm, Daima. So there's a link there, and you could say that just like the Dragon Ball universe all started from the demon realm. Remember, in the previous episode we learned that Raimusu created everything from the demon realm as an attempt to expand the demon realm. Well, the Dragon Ball anime also began with demons because the first kanji in the first word of the title of the original Dragon Ball opening song is demon! Amazing. And I don't think any other anime or Dragon Ball English speaking YouTubers have probably mentioned this. If they have, if you've seen this mentioned elsewhere, let me know in the comments, because, well, I haven't even seen Japanese Dragon Ball YouTubers mention this, and I've watched a few before doing this breakdown. So I don't know, I think this is extremely subtle, but I don't think it's an accident, and this is exactly why I'm liking Daima. The writing is extremely clever, the references a lot of the time are really subtle, and it's rewarding the fans, it's rewarding the people that really stop and think about the material, but it's not excluding anyone either, right? You can still enjoy this stuff without understanding this, but if you really want to go deep, the little Easter eggs are there. They're not in-your-face references. These are true Easter eggs that people enjoy discovering. But let's get into what we learned from Neva. So, yes, he's the one that created it, and he created the Dragon Balls as a kind of reward for Namekians. So, he doesn't really explain what exactly that means, but I'm just assuming that perhaps a Namekian who was particularly good, noble, pure-hearted, would get the opportunity to make a wish with the Dragon Balls. So that seems like a nice thing, but eventually bad entities, and I assume it's just other random demon realm people or demons, whatever you want to call them, they started to exploit the Dragon Balls or go after the Dragon Balls. So then he protected them with the Tamagami and all that. So this seems to be in line with my theory that I did in, I don't know, maybe it was like episode 5 breakdown, and whatever that episode was where Goku fights Tamagami number 3. I talked about how Tamagami number 3 seems like he's rooting for Goku. He wishes him luck, and he acknowledges that Goku seems to be like, well, he doesn't say it in these words, but he seems to acknowledge that Goku is a good individual, right? He says fair guy. He calls Goku a fair guy. That's the literal translation. So this seems to be in line with my theory that Neva implemented this like extra failsafe, right? It's not just being the strongest. He wants to make it as difficult as possible so that not just any like evil demon would be able, well, an evil demon that is really strong would be able to get all of the Dragon Balls and wish for whatever they want. He had that extra thing with the cups and making sure that it's a good person that's getting these Dragon Balls. So perhaps that does end up to be the case. At least, you know, it seems like it might be. Also, something interesting is that Neva seems to have recognized Piccolo because he looks like he looks like Katatsu. And Katatsu, his parent, I don't think there's gender, right? In the Namekian, so I'm just going to go with the parents, which really, it's quite interesting. So, like, Katatsu was... How long ago did the Namekians leave the demon realm, right? Was it... That makes it sound like it wasn't that long ago that Neva would be familiar enough with Katatsu to recognize him. So it seemed a little weird, but okay. And then another interesting thing was that Neva called Piccolo's name weird. So this might be an acknowledgement that Piccolo does have a weird name within the Namekian naming convention, which is all like, you know, Dende, even Katatsu, Nail, and Neva. They're all nods to snails and slugs, whereas Piccolo is a musical instrument, so definitely does not fit in with that motif. So you could imagine how that might sound strange to a Namekian who's only heard like Namekians with Namekian names. And then, of course, Neva ends up going off with Goku and everyone because he says you need to know Namekian, the language of Namek, in order to, I guess like Porunga, right? Either summon the dragon or communicate with it. So given that Piccolo has forgotten his Namekian, as he says... That was interesting. I mean, you know, I get it. You forget, right? Although, what about Nail, right? Wouldn't Nail know Namekian? So he should dig in there and find those that Nail knowledge that's somewhere in his head. Whatever the case, so Neva ends up going off with them, and it doesn't seem like he's stinky anymore. Maybe he took a bath because nobody complains about him being stinky. And yeah, he just stayed behind, or at least what he's saying is he stayed behind to protect the planet and keep it there, like wait for everybody to come back. So it sounds like a lonely story. But here's the thing. I'm thinking something more is going on here. Like, this seems too easy. Maybe Neva is actually trying to use the Dragon Balls for some reason. He's going to double cross Goku and the gang. I don't know. But this seems just like too smooth. I'm thinking something is going to happen here. There's going to be a big twist with Neva. But we'll find out in the next few episodes, I guess. So let's move on to the next part. Number 2, Majin Duu. So we got another Majin created by Maba and Arinsu. So the second creation based on the whole Saibaiman seed thing and Majin Buu's flesh and essence, all in 20 centimeters in the dirt, and of course Dr. Arinsu's saliva. And this was hilarious. And now that we have Majin Duu, I have some more data to try to figure out what these names mean. But before I get into that, I just want to talk a little bit more about what we got with Majin Duu. So Majin Duu definitely looks more like Majin Buu. He's got the fat appearance. He's got some of those personality traits. As soon as he emerges, he wants chocolate. He wants chocolate. That's all he wants. It seems like he loves sweets. And, before I get into that, the first thing he says is "Uncha, uncha," which is a reference to Arale-chan. So Arare-chan is the first, before Dragon Ball, Toriyama Akira had another manga and anime that blew up. He was already extremely successful. And Arare-chan is this little robot girl. she's appeared in the original Dragon Ball in an episode with during the General Blue saga. There was also another episode with Vegeta and Goku, like Vegeta fighting Arale-chan. There's an episode about that. I forgot what that was. That an OVA? Was that in Super? Like I can't remember at this point, but I remember the episode distinctly. But yeah, Goku, Vegeta gets beat up by Arare-chan. It's really funny. But I think outside of Japan, people don't really. I mean, they might recognize the illustration of Arare-chan, but they don't really know too much. But anyway, it's a Toriyama Akira character who was very popular, and she has her own interesting linguistic quirks. And in fact, they call the way she speaks Arare-go. That's one way that people describe her interesting speech style. And one of the things that she says, almost like a catchphrase, is "ncha." And that's the very first thing that Majin Duu says. So after last episode, where we got what seems to be a big Dragon Quest reference with the whole Raimsu slime thing, right? That classic enemy character from Dragon Quest. Now we're getting a reference to Arare-chan. So Dragon Ball DAIMA is just really, they got so many references for so many things. It's really, really interesting. And I think it's been done pretty well. I was not expecting "ncha" to be the first thing to come out of Majin Duu's mouth. But aside from that, in terms of the design, like I said, it looks a lot more like Majin Buu. The eye colors are reminiscent of like Evil Buu, right? The overall look with the bracelets and stuff, and of course the pants. The pants are universal, but the bracelets, I think, they're more like Super Buu. The antenna, right? And of course the fatness, the obesity, I guess you would say, very much like the Majin Buu, the fat Buu, right? So anyway, after that, after he emerges, he says "ncha" and he demands chocolate. We get another awesome sequence, just hilarious, with Majin Kuu. Well, first of all, we get Majin Kuu say that he always wanted a sibling, even though he's been alive for like a day at best. He really wants a sibling. I love Majin Kuu. And then he gets this sibling. He's so happy. And then after Majin Duu says that he wants chocolate, Majin Kuu is immediately there, ready. He says, "I'm going to go to the convenience store and get you. Can I get some money? I'm going to get some chocolate." And he's ready. He's out the door. He comes back. He was exactly like he said in the past episode, in the previous episode. He said, "I'm really good at running errands. I'm super fast." And yeah, he was true. Like, it was true. He was very fast at running errands and getting some chocolate. I love that. But then it made me think, wait. There's convenience stores in this part of the demon realm? Like right by... I thought Maba would be living in a rather remote place, but well, I guess there's a convenience store not too far away. And he got some chocolate. And there was another here. This part was really interesting in that Majin Kuu makes a callback to the previous episode, because Majin Kuu tries to give Majin Duu half of the chocolate, but then they kind of fight over the chocolate because Majin Duu wants all of the chocolate. And then Majin Kuu says like, "See, this is what I always wanted." Like, well, he says something like this. He says like, "Oh my God, this is like, fighting over snacks with my brother. This is the kind of thing I've always wanted to do," right? Like, he doesn't say exactly that, but that's the gist, right? And then in the previous episode, we got Haibis making a comment about Nahare and Degetsu and Arinsu, like saying, "Oh, like you guys used to like fight over snacks," right? He uses the exact same phrase, "okashi no toriai." Right? So this is a clear callback to the previous episode. I don't know if this is going to be some kind of plot point. Maybe they're going to do this another time in the next episode. I don't know why this is such a thing, but apparently fighting over snacks, which is a thing among siblings, right? But I don't know why it was such a callback. Maybe there's some kind of parallel that they're trying to draw between Majin Buu, Kuu, and Degetsu, Arinsu, and Nahare. I'm not exactly sure what that would be, aside from the fact that they're just siblings, and maybe there's some kind of theme here with siblings. I don't know, but I loved it. I thought this was a hilarious scene. And then, of course, Majin Duu going off to battle Tamagami number 1. It seems like he's still getting used to, his powers and all that, but he's got a very, a fighting style very reminiscent of various forms of Buu, like the head, like, hiding thing and all that. Was it turning into like a ball thing? Like, that was also a Buu thing, right? It's been a while since I watched the Buu saga. But yeah, it was a very interesting fighting style, and he seems to be doing okay so far, but we'll see what happens. Will he be able to defeat Tamagami number 1? But anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the name breakdown, okay? So as far as I can tell, the English side of the fandom hasn't really come to a decisive conclusion about what the name origin of Majin Kuu and Majin Duu is. And even the Japan side, I don't think is completely clear, especially on Majin Kuu. But there are some theories going around, including one that I came up with. So let's talk about them. And much like my theories about Raimusu being from slime and all that and why that is, this could, for Majin Kuu and Majin Duu, these theories could all be true. Some of them could be true, or maybe only one of them could be true. I don't know, but there is a scenario where all of them are true. But anyway, let's go through them one by one. Okay, so the first theory, let's talk about Majin Kuu. So Majin Kuu comes from a Saibaiman. Okay, so that's Saibaman in Japanese, Saibaiman. And Saibai means cultivation. How do you spell cultivation? C-U-L-T blah, 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 blah. So maybe the Majin Kuu comes from the CU, right? There's a parallel there, right? Especially when, don't be misled by the spelling, okay? C and K make the same sound. In the world of linguistics, and the sound is more important than the spelling. Spelling will mislead you. Spelling is a lie in English. Don't think about the spelling. Think about the sound. So, ku, and cultivation, okay? So, there could be something there, right? Saibaiman cultivation, Kuu, maybe that was inspiration for the name of Majin Kuu. Now, let's go to Majin Duu. One thing I saw on a Japanese website is that Duu comes from the French word for two, which would make sense. Majin Duu is the second creation in this story of Daima, right? Marba and Arinsu using the Saibaiman thing and spit and all that and the Majin Buu's flesh. So number two makes total sense. So this could be the case. Majin Kuu cultivation, Majin Duu, number two. The second theory is one that I came up with. So the first Majin that we got in this series is Majin Buu, right? Buu, when you write it in English, starts with a B. Next one, Majin Kuu. Just like I said before, don't be misled by the spelling. We're talking about a C sound, okay? So, for example, with Majin Kuu, it's Kuu, a long vowel, right? How do you say cool in Japanese when you want to write it in, katakana, right? You want to write it the Japanese counterpart in the Japanese language, katakana, rather than like the Japanese native word, it would be kuuru, kuuru. So this is ku with a long vowel, right? So exactly the same. So even though it's with a C, the original English is with a C, when you turn it into Japanese and then you write it back in English with the Roman letters, it would be written with a K. So the point here is that ku could be a C sound, right? So B, C, and then we've got Majin Duu, that's a D, right? So maybe it's just B, C, D. So each iteration moves down the alphabet. I think this makes total sense. But of course, this is just my theory, and I can't say for sure that it is true. The third theory mainly focuses on Majin Kuu. So Kuu can also mean eat in Japanese. So perhaps this is a hint that Majin Kuu is going to eat Majin Duu, or perhaps it's a hint that he's going to be eaten, aka absorbed, right? Or turned into a chocolate and eaten, like Majin Buu did with, what was it, a cookie, right? He turned Dabura into a cookie. So maybe that's the case because Majin Duu does have has an antenna, right? And he wants to eat. He loves chocolate. So maybe that could happen. So maybe this is some kind of hint that there will be some absorption or some eating. For example, one scenario that I saw somebody put forth, a Japanese YouTuber, is that Majin Kuu is being presented here as a rather likable character. He wants a sibling. He's really just eager to do a good job and work really hard. He's funny. He's kind of cute in that like a personality, but also he started to grow on me. Like even the way he looks is almost not cute, but something in that range. So what do you do if you want to make a watcher, a consumer of your story, feel something, right? You set up a really lovable, nice character that you're gonna fall in love with, you're gonna want to root, and then you knock them down, you basically kill them off, right? So what if Majin Kuu gets all beat up, he's about to die, and then the only way to save him is to have Majin Duu consume him? that could be something that happens, and maybe the name Kuu is a hint to that. Or maybe it happens the other way around, although I think Majin Kuu would be the one that gets consumed because he's the more likable one. And here's the fourth theory, which is the last one that I'm going to be covering. This also comes from a Japanese YouTuber that I was watching. So perhaps Majin Buu and Majin Duu are a nod to voodoo, because in the previous episode we had talk about zombies, which does connect back to voodoo. So maybe there's something there, but then that leaves the Majin Kuu thing up in the air. So this is why I'm saying again that perhaps some of these theories could work together, right? It's not just one thing. Maybe it's multiple of these things and they're all true. Or maybe there's a curveball that's thrown at us and it's not Kuu as in eat. It's not any of this stuff. It's something completely different. But I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like it's something in this ballpark. I'm pretty confident about that. But of course, if it turns out that none of these are true, I may do a video just about that. So we'll see. Let me know. Which of these theories do you think it is? Why are these characters named Majin Kuu and Majin Duu? Number 3, we're finally seeing Vegeta do something. This was incredible. Just seeing him start to fight, stretch before the fight. That was great. Of course, Piccolo just having his moments there on Planet Namek. Like, this is all coming together. It's all really good. Vegeta fighting in his classic style, of course, like whereas Goku is much more about going in close and, fighting in a more physical way, especially early on in a fight. Like Vegeta just right from the get-go, those key attacks, just we've seen him do that tons and tons of time. I think the Raccoon fight, I believe, right? It's been a while since I watched that, so I'm just going by memory here, but I'm pretty sure like the Raccoon fight and plenty of other instances, I'm sure like that is Vegeta's style, so they're keeping that very much in line with who he is. So great. And of course, the Kraken consuming him. What's going to happen next? Well, I'm sure he's probably going to end up turning Super Saiyan and probably defeating Tamagami number 2. Hopefully, we'll see. But I'm very curious about what the challenge will be after Vegeta defeats Tamagami number 2. So anyway, gotta tune in next week, and I'll be watching this one, tomorrow as of the time of this recording. So almost caught up. So as for the score, I really enjoyed this episode. I think I enjoyed the last one a little bit more because, like I was saying last week, it's really hit its stride. Daima is just firing on all cylinders. But of course, I loved Majin Duu, Majin Kuu, the reference to the OG Dragon Ball opening song, and Nchan, Arare-chan, and all that. So I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. What do you think? Did you enjoy this episode? What do you think about Majin Duu? Did you like his debut? Drop me a comment. Let me know. Subscribe. I'm going to be doing more videos like this. I'm breaking down every Daima episode, plus more stuff coming once I'm caught up and I'm able to focus on other things. So subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.